Kris Jenner has always made it seem like she was all about family, but it turns out that she's been hiding the fact that she has a sister for years now. This might be because they have a pretty bad relationship, and you'll never believe the bizarre reason for this. It turns out that Kris Jenner has a younger sister, and you would think with how much exposure Kris gets, her sister would cash in on that fame too, but that's not really what's been happening, and the reason for this is pretty wild. Kris and her sister Karen Houghton haven't really gotten along throughout the years, and their relationship is super rocky. Still, even though she's not famous like her sister, Karen is actually pretty interesting. She's managed to build a pretty great life for herself. The 63-year-old worked as a stewardess before becoming a part-time nurse. She's also apparently an incredible chef. In fact, Karen has authored not one, but two cookbooks in the past. Her first cookbook, Naturally Gourmet Cookbook, was released in 2010, and volume 2 of the cookbook was released in 2013. And while Karen's exact net worth is unknown, estimates reportedly lie between $100,000 and $1 million. I know that's kind of a wide range, but either way, it doesn't sound too bad. Karen currently lives in San Marcos, California, which is only about 2 to 3 hours away from where Kris lives in Hidden Hills. The distance between them isn't too big, but growing up, the sisters were once incredibly close. Karen and Kris were raised by their single mom, Mary Jo Campbell, after she divorced their father, Robert Houghton. The family lived together in San Diego, and the siblings enjoyed happy times together until it was time for them to go their separate ways. Kris eventually moved to LA, and allegedly, this was when their bond started falling apart. When Kris married Robert Kardashian, she began getting a taste of the high life, but it was during her eventual marriage to former Olympian Caitlyn Jenner that she seemingly leveraged her daughter Kim's leaked video scandal into a reality TV empire. Kris became known as the matriarch of the Kardashian household when Keeping Up with the Kardashians skyrocketed them to worldwide recognition. Kris has gotten her family through many doors nobody thought would be possible, and Karen wasn't entirely a fan of this. Apparently, the reason Karen believes she isn't close with her older sister is because of her celebrity status and the never-ending need to seek more fame and fortune. She was once quoted saying that she didn't care how much money Kris had or who Kris was known as because all the glamour came second to the fact that Kris was still her sister. Karen clarified that she was nowhere near afraid of Kris. Rather, the main problem seemed to be that she couldn't reach Kris anymore, and that's something that she seemed kind of sad about. I mean, I would be too if one of my siblings let money get to their head and stop talking to me. Also, Karen said that because she was a huge celebrity now, she'd completely changed. She admitted that she wasn't sure if that was good or bad, but it was definitely a noticeable shift from the Kris she grew up with. But Kris has, or at least had, a different perspective about their sisterly bond. Kris's 2011 autobiography revealed that she loved and still loves Karen very much. They were there to support each other through tough times, which Kris will apparently always be thankful for. However, what stood out was that Kris said that to this day, she and Karen are a part of each other's lives. Now, Karen has said that she's had brief run-ins with Kris, but not because they both decided to just hang out to catch up or anything close to that. Mainly, they've been interacting when it comes to taking care of their mother, who's been dealing with issues that come with aging. Karen remembers specific times when she's had to call Kris screaming at her, all because Kris allegedly didn't make an effort to help their mom enough. The negligence on Kris's end apparently annoyed Karen because Kris's entire brand revolves around her close-knit family and championing strong family values. Their mom requested that she wanted to live in the luxurious San Diego neighborhood of La Jolla, and Karen was mad at how Kris supposedly reacted to it. Kris didn't offer to get their mom a place there at all despite having the most money in their family. I mean, she's worth millions. And although I can understand Kris's perspective a little because she's not obligated to purchase a home for anyone, I can see things from Karen's side as well because with how much disposable income Kris has, it feels like the least she could do is get her a smaller condo or maybe pay her mom's rent. However, Karen apparently also blames Kris's lack of consideration on a bad personality, which is a lot to say about your sibling. In 2013, Kris seemed to bite back by telling Radar in an interview that unfortunately her sister had been dealing with demons for years. In 2014, Karen ran into Radar to reveal that despite the belief that Kris and her ex-spouse Caitlyn seemed to be reconciling, that would never happen. She exposed personal details about Kris and and Caitlyn's relationship that maybe shouldn't have been spread. Karen said that Caitlyn left Kris and walked out on her forever, and the reason why Caitlyn abandoned Kris, according to Karen, was because she couldn't take Kris's yelling anymore. Karen also described how Kris wasn't taking the split very well. She even added a post on her Facebook calling Kris a nutcase, and because Kris allegedly never responded to Karen when she called, Karen wrote that she was hurt by Kris ignoring her, referring to herself as a crazy aunt in the process. It seems like the two never really resolved their issues. Although Karen still kept Kris in her life in the strangest way, in 2016, Karen paid a lot of money to copy Kris's signature look. Basically, it seems like Karen decided to get a facelift to look like Kris, but then Karen's admiration for Kris soon faded away again because apparently Kris forgot Karen's 60th birthday in November 2018. To make matters worse, Karen has a daughter, an aspiring model named Natalie Zettel, who took to IG to celebrate her mom's birthday while Karen was sick at the hospital. Karen was constantly in and out of the hospital during that time, and many people were not too happy with Kris for not being very supportive of her sister during that time. But then the biggest plot twist occurred. On December 15, 2019, Karen's daughter Natalie uploaded the most shocking Instagram story ever. In a turn of events, Karen and Kris posed in the same photo alongside their mom, Natalie, and Kris's daughter, Kris Jenner. They were posing close to each other and appearing genuinely happy to be spending time together. It honestly seemed pretty sweet, but does this mean the sisters are on good terms now? Well, not necessarily. Technically, that was the very last time Kris and Karen were spotted intentionally posing for a picture together. There haven't been any recent shots of them or evidence of them being in close proximity to each other. So what the current status of the relationship is remains unknown. On a brighter note, if Kris and Karen's last interaction was that holiday season photograph from years ago, at least it was a positive one. But what do you guys think? Did you know that Kris had a sister? And what do you think their relationship is like now? Let me know in the comments down below.